Asia as well, because IHC and whatnot.
Yeah, IHC and that lot. And I'm really, honestly looking forward to this new format. And the RMR is actually going to be taking place in person in Australia. So these teams are also fighting for a quick trip abroad, or even more exciting Counter-Strike. But enough of my rambling. We are heading into Inferno. First map of the day, and I could not be more excited. Wings Up starting on that T side, and they've gone for a decent amount of utility early doors.
Yes, indeed they have. God, it feels good to be back watching and casting Counter-Strike. This is what we live for. This is what we love. Right, let's crack on into it, shall we? First things first, we're going to have a quick few mollies thrown about. Quick exchange of the Glock. We're just scouting at the moment to see what Rare Atom are going to do with that CT aggression. Wings Up being very patient in the early round. Obviously, with the amount that these two have played against one another, they have a reasonably good idea of what to anticipate when it comes to playing against the other. It seems that Wings Up, on their pistol round at the very least, wanted to play pretty far back, wait for some early aggression, and Rare Atom were not particularly willing to give it to them. In the intermediary, though, in goes those smokes. One towards Coffins, another towards CT, and now the Molotovs. It's a bit of an execute on pistol round, as a matter of fact, in towards this B site, and it has forced Rare Atom to go and play retake. Now just tapping and tippity-tapping away with the grenade as well in hand behind these smokes. That's going to do a lot of damage. Oh,
my goodness
that is quite the HE grenade. And now here come the frags. It's quick, it's thick and fast, but it's all being traded. It's still on the heat of the action and by the seat of their pants, but headshots coming in aplenty. Yamyoung now trying to find his way into the site. He has another bit of support coming in from Kays around the corner. That's another headshot. Just the last player towards New Box, and it's down into a 1 versus 1. Jamyoung has to go aggressive. He doesn't have a kit, and the time is ticking down. Plant's been conceded already, but is the round going to fall victim as well? It's the knife, but it's not to be. Child King just conserves his ammo for long enough to win the round and steal it away for Wings Up.
What a way to start things off. An incredibly exciting pistol round. And the fact that despite taking, 150-odd nade damage between the team, Wings Up are still able to come out on top in that post plant is a testament to their grit and determination. They're at them. I mean, they give it a valiant push, but they can't quite retake control of the B site. Great utility usage in a pistol round, as you mentioned. It's not often we see an execute of that caliber coming in the first round of play. Now with Rare Atom going onto a 4 spy, plenty of Deagles in play, and a couple of upgraded weapons, mainly Mosaic on that FAMAS, looking to deal further damage to Wings Up, and hopefully claw things back to an even scoreline.
You're looking for, of course, and now this round's been a little bit more explosive. I'd say that in terms of information given. It's not been contact of Banana, whilst the CTs, once again, like you mentioned, with their financial position, haven't really been able to give a lot of resources towards Banana early on. It's going to be straight through the smoke and over the top of it. The MAC-10 going awry, and Mosey managing to find a lovely first frag out of that. Advent, of course, gets traded, but that leaves it in a 4 versus 3. Somewhat advantageous to the CT side. However, they are at that deficit of not having the weapons to play this situation through properly. So the AK-47s will now post themselves up towards this retake situation. Mercury lines up smoke for Banana, tries to enable his teammate Mazia into the site. Now, straight through from Church. It's going to be 2-3 players, in fact, filtering in from this position. Around the corner, there's one. Mercury gets taken down while Child King, I'll get there in the end, gets through it eventually. But despite all of that, Gas sits resolute in the back of the site. Bingo comes up from Banana. It is another free round for Wings Up. They've got to start getting a handle on stopping these bomb plants, Rare Atom, because these retakes haven't really been enough. Wings Up have got the ability to stand resolute in their post plant. They've got positioning down. They've got their trades to be even better. And despite the fact that there was that weird little smoke down towards Dark there, it still enabled Child King to play around it. He still managed to get 1 to 2 frags out of it and enable Gas to play through it too.
Yeah, and actually just looking back at the opener of that round, despite the fact they lose the first 2 players on the side of Wings Up, they stick to the plan. Their executes have been pretty good so far, regardless of that singular random smoke thrown into the mix. But Martin making his way down a long here. Look at this incredibly fast playstyle. I don't even have enough time to analyze what's going on. Thankfully, it's just a pistol round here for Rare Atom, so they won't be too hard done by. Not getting too much done in this 3rd round. But yeah, that's fantastic stuff from Wings Up. They plant without a single shot landed on either team. And Key, who I believe is Land, but I would have to double check that. is now left to deal with just pistols. It's an absolute cash cow here. And who doesn't love a good eco-frag, Waffles?
Everyone loves eco-frags, but none more than the MAC-10. That's going to be taking up the majority of that moolah. Of course, the extra kill reward for the MAC-10 makes that all the more sweet. Bingo and Martin will be having a nice day with that one. Specifically Martin. He's the one who found the frags in that previous round. But despite all of this, it is a 3-0 start for Wings Up. It really could not be much better for them. Like you mentioned at the start of all of this, it's very important that these guys get off to a good start on this map specifically, because Overpass might be looking like a bit of a rocky road for them for now. Speaking of which, though, Rare Atom are going to try and make this journey as uncomfortable as possible for them. They've brought out the big guns now. The AWP is up on Ks, and the rest of the team is all rifle. Utility is there to boot with it as well, so hopefully you might be able to see a little bit more of a forward stance here from Rare Atom. Thus far, they've been pretty conceding on early round pressure, and speaking of conceding, it's the first frag going away as well. Child King, beautiful entry through Boiler, and now Brackets Control trying to be taken by Wings Up. It's going to be denied just at the first port and call by Mercury, with the assistance of K's coopered into now the site. They're going to try and re-aggress. They're going to try and get control of Brackets again, and it's all on Mercury to make this happen. And I think he might even get away with this too. And map control being taken back is information garnered for Rare Atom, and it might enable them to anticipate this rotation towards B.
Well, as that rotation comes on in, it will be a full stack for the Wings Up crew. And with Rare Atom's split defense, again, they've struggled with 2 players on the B-bomb site before to lock things down. And with only 1 remaining there, I don't think it's going to be enough just to have Mosea behind the back pillar. As the util continues to rain on down. Thankfully, Advent hasn't made the full rotation over, but Mosea is still isolated on this site. Going to have to go huge here. Only good for 1. As Bingo, well, Bingo was his name, as he clears out 2 on the site, and that will be surely a 4th round on the board for Wings Up. As Rare Atom, they just have to go and save. I was going to say, it's good to see that Keynes is on the AWP now. He has very, very minimal impact other than that singular kill coming towards the A site there. Great readjustment from Wings Up. And yeah, this is an amazing start for them. They're playing Rare Atom like a fiddle.
Can sometimes be a little bit difficult to try and get yourself started with the AWP on the CT side of Inferno. You have to take a few aggressive stances, really. Your options are middle or banana for the early picks in the round, and neither of those are particularly advantageous angles, considering as the TDs get to holding positions before you do as a CT. So you need to have a bit of a propensity to be aggressive if you are going to play up like that, like with Case there. He was unfortunately back on the site, though, so pushed back early from, I think he was a quad kind of area, just being held out by Boiler. And as a result of that, you can see that the AWP didn't really have the pressure that it wanted. And now Key is going to have the AWP of his own. T-side AWP has never really been something that I've been a big fan of on Inferno. With all the 90-degree angles on this map, it makes it very difficult to take engagements with the AWP. You are really relying on CT aggression.
I was going to say, you clearly didn't see Jame, though, in the game against Saul at qualifying outsiders for the previous major.
Yeah, well, I mean, it works for some people, but I tend to find that on a more simplistic level, I like for fundamental level, when you get down to the kind of tier 2, tier 3 nitty-gritty of Counter-Strike, I would rather just try and play fundamentals of Counter-Strike and get it as basic as I can. And introducing an AWP on the T side of Inferno, I find it often complicates matters unless you've got an AWPer that really understands how to do it. But maybe it works.
That's a fair observation. That's all right.
No, it can be effective. I'm not completely discriminating against it, and I don't think neither are Wings Up here. They're flooding into the site. It's Wings Up to drop down into pit, and then Jamyoung is going to drop Plan into the middle of the site. So there goes that first kill. Jamyoung is still holding strong with this AWP as well. A second one recovered, of course, off the corpse of Lan. Now Martin about to try and arrive round the corner. He's going to have one shot to the back of the head. There's got more players arriving from the middle, and he's managed to get that one too. That enables now a quick-footed rotation towards the B site if they want it, but unfortunately they don't. It's Mercury in the corner and Bingo to get a full house. It's just Kays now from Library. Smoke in to obscure his vision, and probably with that bomb planted, quick-footed escape for him to try and hop out and save this AWP.
Yeah, talking to Jame, it's Jame time for Case now, as he sits patiently towards Archers, hoping for an exit frag, hoping to deal a little bit more damage to this now bustling T economy. But speaking of economics, Rare Atom I mean, they do have considerable loss bonus now, but it's still not the best place to be in. This AWP save will be huge in terms of bolstering the economy. Yeah, already 5-0 down without really having a say in any of the rounds except the pistol. This is not the start the Rare Atom were looking for. And this is also not the Rare Atom I expected to see today with so much on the line. As I've said, they are just about squeezing past Wings Up in terms of caliber and world ranking. But yeah, they just look like a tier 4 deflated team here, unable to deal with any of Wings Up aggression.
Let's not get too out of the seat about this one. We are only 5 rounds in, and 3 of those rounds have been acquired off the back of a pistol. A nicely executed pistol, I might add, for Wings Up. But let's just temper our expectation for a moment. Let's just wait and see what Rare Atom have to offer. Of course, a 5-0 start is never preferential for anybody. Preferential, that HE grenade is quite something, and finally a good start, but Advent immediately suffers the wrath of Martin and is forced down 6 feet under. Martin is looking to try and get a little bit more aggressive on this as well, trying to play on the periphery of the smoke as more HE grenade damage is done. I think it's pretty clear where this hit's going to try and end up now, and with a smoke in the eyes once more, that's going to be to try and stop any further pressure, but it's still coming in. Mosaic gets absolutely bodied. The entry into the site has been perfect, the flashbang's even better. Now, Mercury has to try and play retake. There's no point trying to play defender. It's going to be re-aggression from the CTs.
Well, the CTs are at least grouping up this time, but with the man disadvantage, they may have the utility, but already calling the save. I mean, I respect decision-making. They want to have the money to be as competitive as possible going into the next round, but Rare Atom really need to start showing some signs of putting a round on the board here. Wings Up again, a great round from them. They are so prominent at just taking banana control. As much as they lose the opening kill, they immediately get the trade. As you said, Advent goes down. And one thing I would like to point out, I believe Bingo is the new IGL for Wings Up. And he's an IGL who has a lot more firepower behind him than the previous one. And I guess that's been reflected in the results of Wings Up. They've had a pretty decent past 6 events, making a 3rd to 4th in all of them, or otherwise winning. And that's all been under the tutelage of Bingo, something that can't be said for Advent. Advent does not have a great rating. I think he's currently rated 0.89, and he's dropped a 0.43 and a 0.39 in his most recent games, which is just not acceptable. As much as the former meta was having an IGL who wasn't necessarily the best fragger on the server, he does need to start putting up a better rating, and being 2-6 right now is not what Rare Atom need.
You are absolutely right. You do need to have at least some output, some contribution from your in-game leader. And Jamyoung here is actually in a very forward position, ahead of that Molotov. As such, might be garnering himself a great wealth of information. Now, he knows that there is going to be pressure towards bedroom here, and now the game is up. He still all lands the dink, but of course, that no one-tap potential from the A1S or the A4 for that matter really does come to bite him in the backside. Now Kay's defending from inside the site. It's another waterfall over the balcony. Once again, Kay's has got it all to do. Training his sights on 2 different locations, baiting out the shot, gets one, now has to go back, combat more up close, but it's going to be Mosaic inside the site. 8 HP for Child King, and he absolutely sorts it out. A great hold from Kay's and Mosaic. The rotation in from long was perfect and well timed, and Kay's did just enough to hold on for long enough to garner Rare Atom there first.
Yeah, finally a round on the board for Rare Atom, and hopefully this is a sign of things to come. I want this to be as competitive a game as possible, and I think that's what both of these teams deserve after their rather lengthy history together. Now, the players to look out for on the server on the side of Rare Atom are definitely Kay's and Jamyoung, and in recent times, Mosaic has also been stepping up to the plate, with one of his games in the Open Qualifier having a +12 KD on the first map, which is quite an impressive feat. But in terms of Wings Up, I mean, the people you should be keeping an eye out on are going to be Lan, who, when he picks up an AWP, normally is quite prevalent on the server. His name is Key on the HUD, but he's currently going 2-5, so it's taking him a little bit of time to warm into things. Otherwise, the rest of the team have certainly been picking up the slack. Martin and Bingo both 7-3. Some impressive scorelines, and they really have been dealing the pain to this Rare Atom side thus far. As that timer ticks on down, Rare Atom will be looking to do exactly that on the reverse. squeeze their way in to a couple more rounds, try and string something together.
It is of absolute importance at the moment for Rare Atom to get some rounds on the board, just to get that feeling a little bit more comfortable. I mean, 6 rounds already on the T half for Wings Up is pretty good. Obviously, that CT meta isn't quite as potent as it once was before the A1S nerf, but having said that, still pretty good to get 6 rounds up. I mean, Inferno is probably one of the more balanced maps, should we say? It's not quite
I'd
like
agree.
It's not quite like Nuke, but 6 rounds already when you're looking to try and get an 8-7 out of this one at the bare minimum is already pretty strong for the team side. And that pistol round almost certainly helped them out. But of course, that can be leveled out very, very quickly with a spree of rounds or a CT pistol when it comes in being conceded as well. So let's not get too ahead of ourselves. I love analysing how quickly things are going, but you've got to enjoy the moment, Tom. You have to really embrace things while they're here, because they are fleeting. Whilst they are beautiful, their impermanence is what makes them so. So,
I mean, Wings Up have been quite fleeting in their B bomb site takes, and they look to be doing that again quite shortly. They got the lurk player in Child King over towards A, see if he can catch some of those pesky rotators off guard, but with 35 seconds left on the clock, it is going to have to be the B bomb site execute here, unless the lurk player can do something miraculous, but instead it's Advent stepping up to the plate to find Martin on the opener. Now a 5 versus 4 and time ticking away. Needs to be some action from Wings Up, and instead it's Advent to find 2. It's a gorgeous brain out. And Mosaic still holding the back of the site. Should have this round locked in, but no. There's a rotation from the CT player. There's still a chance for them to swing on in, take this round. But as I say that, Mosaic goes huge. Another 2 kills to Vitali. And Wings Up have just Child King remaining. The lurk player lurking back towards the T-ramp, attempting to save this AK as his team are wiped clean from that B-bomb site. A nice resurgence again there from Rare Atom, and 2 rounds in a row.
the big thing in that round was, I think it was Mosaic, actually ended up giving a perfectly timed flashbang onto that one for Advent, I think was inside the site, or to go and get that play at CT, that initial one where the Ts were trying to back off a tad, trying to reposition themselves slightly. Now we get a timeout as a result of that. That flashbang, though, that came in from the back of CT from Mosaic that enabled Advent really was the catalyst for that round to go the way of the CTs. And then on top of that, really did become the nice installation inside of the site from Mosaic. And then better on top of that, it was the support that came in from Kays and from Mercury, I believe it was. I might be mistaken. My mind is already fleeting away from me. But having said that, it is still a really impressive bit of synergy and team play there. Something that you don't often get to see from teams, mostly in the Asian region. I remember historically, the Asian teams used to play really, really fast pace when they came into the major, and often they get a lot of upsets as a result of it, often completely forgetting the need or just vetoing the need for flashbangs, dry peeking into everything, the pace and the tempo of it more than anything else, and then enabling themselves to take position that way. But this time with flashbangs into the mix as well, and early heavy execute util heavy styles here from Wings Up, especially towards this B site, is really interesting and better yet refreshing to see from an Asian team as well. So this round, on the other hand, is going to be a little bit more of a more typical affair, but Child King on the entry doubles up. Now looking to try and make it a triple as he drags a lot of information away from this A site. In fact, he's going to bring a player back to this A site. It's Advent, who's rotating all the way back over when the bomb and 3 other of his players are situated over towards the banana position. They have just got to best Mosaic here. They've just got to get a smoke or a flashbang in his eyes, and he is brown bread. He's just going to be around this corner just any moment, and there is that aforementioned utility. Smoke towards CT in the optimistic hope of trying to get him out. There's the flashbang. He's got a teammate in support now. It's Advent on the corner, but Gas takes him down instantaneously. And the B site once again, Tom, falls to Wings Up. They've got this little execute set up so perfect every single time they've attempted it. And Child King has installed himself on that retreat path for Mosaic. No saving in the AWP today. Mercury recognizes that his escape plan is also compromised and has to try and turn tail.
Yeah, so Child King opening up the round and then filling in the lurk role quite nicely as he finishes off people rotating in to, well, I guess try and rotate the B site in vain. That is another fantastic example of Wings Up just abusing Rare Atom, forcing rotations unnecessarily from them and taking that B bomb site in their stride. They've only let that B execute slip once, and that was in the previous round where Advent and Mosaic decided to go huge and get 2K apiece. But yeah, in round number 9, they're straight back to their old works. And with that, successful B-side take again, and great stuff from Child King to make it all happen in the first place.
Yeah, tad annoyed I didn't get to see that first little interlude on the Child King, but the second one with the wallbang spray through the wall onto Kays was very impressive. I'm liking the fact that Kays is playing more than one position as well over towards this A site. We've seen him play middle. We've also seen him go for aggressive plays in towards second middle, which haven't quite worked out yet. There hasn't been the reward on those just as of the moment, but there has also been further aggression now over towards the B site, heavily up in their face. Advent tries to go, but Gas adjusts appropriately, just in the nick of time. Smoke down, though, is certainly going to halt the process and the progress of the T side for the moment. Now, Kays will just hold station in towards Mini Pit for now. Flashbang absolutely perfect as he is wiped off the floor. He's now going to have to just get picked up by his teammate, and I think that's going to be Mosaic who's currently back in church. A quick wallbang to the right here for Bingo would be absolutely perfect, but for the time being, I don't think it's going to happen. As Land plants the bomb, Mosaic tries to scarf her away. Tail between his legs as they have to go and sulk as another round goes astray on this B site. Wings Up have got the strategy. It is just go B. It's weak over there. It's like in matchmaking when you go, oh yeah, their B players are absolutely ass. We can take this site every single time. Well, Wings Up are doing exactly that. And Rare Atom, they're going to need to try and formulate a different response. This time around, they tried to put a bit more of a forward face towards Banana and bring the AWP over for additional support when the push came in. But both were just wrecked. Flashbangs are plenty, and aim just as good. Leaves Wing Up to get their 8th.
Yeah, and with that 8th on the board, things are not looking good for Rare Atom. Half is already won out, and as much as they're able to string 2 rounds in a row, they are looking back to just a lack of confidence in themselves again, and also a lack of ability to lock down that B bomb site. All Gas needs to do is step his foot on the gas, run on in with a great flash assist, admittedly, but yeah, just decapitates the first player, locking that site down. And as they continue on in, there is almost no resistance from this CT side. And, well, they've got another buy behind them. The loss bonus really the only thing keeping them afloat, along with the delicious saves at this point. But yeah, they're not even doing util damage down Banana, because Wings Up are so prepared for whatever Rare Atom might throw at them that it's only Mosaic to take util damage on Banana, and it's all from CT utility. Martin finally taking a little bit of chip there, as Case doesn't quite spot the barrel yet, but he could well spot a bullet in between the eyes. This is a man down the bottom of Banana, patiently waiting for him with that AWP. Lan still not finding the impact on that T-side up just yet, as Martin narrowly misses the mark on the retreating CT players. And again, that's Banana control for Wings Up. But this time, they're not looking to go for it, but they've made Rare Atom so nervous, they've got a 3-man stack towards that B-bomb site. As much as that has now faded away, Wings Up still have an advantage here if they decide to hit back onto the A site for the first time in goodness knows how long.
You remember the last time they did try and hit onto this A site, it was a bit of a collapse. I believe it was Mosaic and Kay's former, the latter of two was with the AWP holding station on the site. So it could be a little bit of a difficult attempt at this one. They're still holding their nerve and still trying to be patient. 2 B players are yet to see anything, and now here comes the hit. Jamyong inside a pit with the assistance of Mercury. They found 2 frags, and that might just stop this entire attack coming through. Of course, there's still plenty more players to spill over the balcony, but at the moment, the smoke inside the site is just doing wonders for disguising Mercury, just keeping him locked in here with no pressure coming, and with 12 seconds remaining, there's just no way they can get into this round any amount. They're going to hear Lamp retreating, and that will be their sign. Rare Atom, I'm impressed with this round, frankly, Tom. They go aggressive on Banana, and then they have the presence of mind to know when to give it up. A good number of teams would stick with that fight on Banana and give them all the control that they wanted with an advantage given as well. The only thing that they concede on Banana is utility. That's all that they concede. And then as a result, they have the man advantage, or at least they have an equal man-to-man advantage. and it works out nicely for them. They manage to hold their nerve, not over-rotate when they hear nothing for a good 35 seconds worth of the round. They just hold station, and as a result, plays into their hands beautifully. More of that, please. And speaking of more aggression, out goes Mercury. Flashbang perfect from Mazea. And now he's installed himself in second middle. There's more assistance coming from his teammate. Round the corner, Mercury grabs another, and his teammate is still aggressive in middle, but has managed to finally slink away with a good chunk of HP remaining. So a 4 versus 3 certainly does favour the CTs quite considerably, as they can now spread their resources 2 and 2. The Ts have to just try and force every entry they can find with limited utility, as they're now 2 players down. What has been a very execute-heavy T side so far.
I mean, yeah, that was an excellent start for the CTs. They completely catch Wings Up off guard. And, well, with Mercury's opening 2 kills, Wings Up don't really know what to do with themselves. Yes, they've got banana control back again, but Rare Atom know that they don't really need it in these circumstances, as it is such a deficit right now for the Wings Up side. They do grab the bomb, though. They will go back towards B. It is a tried and tested bomb site for them, but as the CTs drop their own utility, they're just going to be delaying things further. Advent pulling the pin back on a Molotov, ready for that aggression. And as soon as they hear the utility raining down, it will be deployed. Flashbangs rain on down, and Case drops another Molotov of his own, just playing the time and spamming down Martin to 45 HP through that smoke. Only 30 seconds left. Wings Up may have left it too late again, but they have found the opening frag. K's on the back of the site, only good for a single, being now into a 2v2, and it's actually the T's with the advantage. Mosea unable to spot the player in towards triple. And as the util is running low on the CT side, they have just a smoke and a flash left. Bingo does get a decent bit of damage taken off of him with that grenade thrown there. As the timer ticks away, it is still very much an advantageous round for the C side.
Oh, good God. Why would you go peeking? There's just no need to go peeking in a situation such as that. And now Bingo's left at 1 versus 1. Again, both players have low HP, but thankfully Bingo is able to clutch that round out. That was a very odd one from Martin. He has all the time in the world. There's no utility to force him out of dark either, and yet still decides to go for a peek when he knows that both players are going to be approaching from CT or Banana, so his position is compromised if he does reveal himself. Meanwhile, round still won, but it was a little bit of a misstep from Martin. A little bit trigger-happy, I suppose you would say. But having said that, it's still all good. Still all good always. 9 rounds on this T-half for Wings Up. They are soaring.
I mean, it's not just their wings that are up, but their round count is doing numbers. That's a little unfortunate there for Lan, who's had a rough start to the game. 28 HP, and gas goes down to K's.
Go on, do the wallbang. Go on, do the wallbang. Oh, never mind.
Oh, so close.
Go on, go on. Oh, went for it. It made me wince for a moment. Thankfully for the side of Rare Atom, they've got it all going on towards this A site, and now Bracket's control is unequivocally theirs. They can start to suffocate this map away from Wings Up. It's a quick boost up on top of Nubox, an anti-flash angle, absolutely perfect for the incoming assault. No barrel stuff options this time as well for the AWP. It's going to be a Molotov towards Nubox that forces a player out, but now he's too far wide and the AWP is just not hitting. And they're delaying so much time for this rotation to come on in. It's combat AWP for that over the top. Oh my goodness me! 2 quick shots, a flurry of style, and now a necessity to get this bomb planted. He has the cover from the wall. There's no players ascending upon his position for the moment, and he can drop back. Going to reload that AWP, only 1 bullet in the chamber, now got 10 in the magazine. Chambers up that round and gets it ready, trains his sights towards Banana. The player from CT still yet to be encroaching, but this first frag on the AWP is of the utmost importance. He finds it, and now surely can anticipate that there's going to be a player towards CT. Changes his attention towards Ruins, and is just going to start to skulk around the back. Jamyong is already through, past the barrel of his scope. Now, is he going to check his behind? Flashbang out. Oh, misses the shot.
Oh, no.
That's a crucial one to find, and now up towards the site they go. Smoke defuse planted on it, but now the tap comes in. Now the stick gets off it immediately. No time. Lan has done it with an incredible flurry of frags. The no-scope, the quick-scope, and then the holding shot to finish. How on earth does that 1v4 come off for him?
Oh, Lan, you absolute menace. That was played to perfection. I was telling Well, I was telling the story of how it's not been a great start to the half for him. He's really had very little impact up until that moment where he just goes insane, dancing around the CTs like nobody's business. And oh, I can't believe he manages to pull off that no-scope as well. It all starts with the no-scope onto Atom. He's jumping around the site with an MP9. Against all the odds, he flicks around and finds another. Yeah, just a perfect round of positioning for the man of land on that AWP. Martin now. Oh, he's going to get immediately decapitated by Jamyoung. As the pride before the fall came in that previous round. Martin falls very promptly. His case backed another onto land here, but bingo! Lovely 2K to his name along with King. Does stabilize things quite nicely. And I feel like that is all Rare Atom will be able to achieve in round number 14. The penultimate round of our first half. And it's not looking good. They've only got 3 rounds on the board in the entire first half as King decapitates Advent where he stands. Should have just gone and saved that AK because now Mosaic's left to do that. But instead, Bingo cuts him through nicely. 11-3. Could very well be a 12-3 scoreline here.
I've just clocked, by the way, that those 3 frags that Lan found in the last round make up 75% of his now overall kill total. It is quite the impressive statistic that he's had no impact in the game thus far, and Wings Up have been able to find themselves 10 rounds up until that point, or 9 rounds, and then he just activates for the 10th. I suppose there's impact players, and then there's that kind of thing, but a nade stack now towards the bottom of Banana has quite nicely for Advent found himself a frag. Oh, back off that position.
Sorry, I was going to say, did Lan find a team kill as well? Because I was certain he was on 2 before he found that 3K in the previous. But
don't recall. There's a chance.
Swiftly into the final round. Molotovs rain on down and Wings Up. They are struggling in this one. They've lost 2 players early. They go for the half-wall boost towards Banana, and it won't turn out in their favour. Instead, Mercury finds a frag in his favour instead. Not been the best half for him either. In fact, quite a slow one for all of Rare Atom, as is evident from the scoreline and the kill feed. But now in a 5v2, hopefully, they should be able to put themselves 4 up on the board. And then we'll see if Zonic's Law applies to Asian CS as well. Oh my, Martin.
Zonic's Law always applies. There's no way. But having said that, Advent is just going to put himself in a nice position to try and win this round as the bomb gets dropped in the mouth of CT. Martin's turn now to try and go wild with the AWP over towards this B site. No bomb planet as of yet, but the frag still to be found. Now approaching from Banana, not going to be able to react quickly enough, and it will be an 11-4 half. We're not going to break, we're just going to stick on through it, I believe, as players should be ready relatively quickly. So I think on that front, everything is good. I think this has been an interesting half, to say the least. Rare Atom have had a rough go of things, but a pistol round that they can convert into 3 rounds thereafter would be absolutely... Well, I think at this stage, it's beyond a necessity. It is an absolute must. If they don't have it, this game is lost. Because then you go to 14-4 for Wings Up, and by which point you have to come back with an absolutely monstrous T-side. 10 rounds in a row is the bare minimum at that point. So this is going to be a tough one for them without the pistol round. They have to get that.
Yeah, looking at the win percentages, Rare Atom win 54% of their T rounds. And doing some quick maths here, I believe 12 rounds is slightly more than 54%. So it definitely is going to be an uphill struggle here. On the flip side, Wings Up, they're decently CT-sided. They've got a 58% win rate on CT-sided rounds and 56 on T. So they've already massively surpassed themselves from previous stat lines. And they will be looking to do just that against an opponent they often struggle with. So, Wings Up, again, we said that they perhaps weren't the favourites coming into this series, especially if they weren't able to win their own map pick. But with Mirage potentially looming here, as I definitely have Rare Atom to win Overpass, I honestly could not tell you who's going to come out on top here and continue through our upper bracket.
No, it is certainly a tough call to make, I will agree. With Wings Up coming out so strongly here on Inferno, it does change your perspective quite some. Obviously, the last two times that these guys have met on this map, Rare Atom have dispatched with. Rare Atom have also had their fair share of stumbling blocks lately. So with just Mercury and Mosaic to get ready to launch into the next half, I think we should start to look forward to what we think is going to happen. I'm not going to ask you for predictions, but what would you say is something that needs to change for Rare Atom moving into their into their T side? What have you seen from them that's lacking? What do you need to see from them more of?
I mean, obviously it's going to be switching sides now, so it will be a different approach from the side of Rare Atom. But looking at them on the B bomb site, they were almost unwilling to adapt to the situation at hand. Wings Up were, without a doubt, abusing them on that B bomb site, and they just never seemed to get their positioning right. And also when it came down to the fragging, with the exception of that one round where Advent gets like a nice 2k off the back of a teammate's flash assist, he's not been doing much on that B-bomb site defense. You would have thought that they would have switched a couple of players around, maybe asked Case to stick around on that B-bomb site throughout the entire duration of a round, rather than just having one player playing Coffins and one player playing site or CT pretty consistently. I don't know what they needed, but they just needed something to change there. And their utility usage wasn't fantastic either. They got caught out with stuff in their hands. They're heading into our second pistol here. Wings Up. Hopefully they can learn from Rare Atom's mistakes on this CT side. And that grenade, oh, it does a juicy bit of damage to start things off here. But Rare Atom, they continue forward, looking to replicate the same success as their opposition in their pistol round. Martin drops the smoke, but they run straight through it. Perfect. And I was talking about people getting caught with util in their hands. That's exactly what happened for poor old Martin, as Gas gets obliterated by a running Mercury. Now, it's already a 5v3. Not a single man lost for the attackers.
Not a scratch on them, really, as well. It's so far looking very good. Mazea in a forward position inside as well. Oh, that is so satisfying. That is really nice. I love to see that. Just the tippity taps, and that is just the tippity tap of the iceberg, I'm afraid, for the problems that Wings Up may now face. They have an option. Force buy or save to go and try and get a somewhat decent buy in round 3, and so far from the current purchasing, it looks to be the latter of the two options, interestingly enough. The current prescribed wisdom is that generally you force buy on round 2 on the CT side, but because that round was so swift and so clean from Rare Atom, there's going to be no reinvestments really necessary. Armor likely is not doesn't really have to be upgraded, and as such there's going to be Galils and an AK on the server as well. It's a neat little stack up on towards Arch side, or Wings Up, but unfortunately it's going to be completely and utterly redundant.
Well, they might get Jam Young if they're lucky. He's still lurking around looking for a couple of eco frags. But yeah, with that completely free B bomb site, you'd like to think that he has the discipline not to go for eco frags here. Just fall back, keep your Galil, no need to give up weapons unnecessarily, and that's exactly what he does. I respect that decision making from Jam Young. Also, he's not been having the best game so far, so I think a death to the USPs would just be a little bit tilting, especially when it would be an unnecessary cost. Yeah, bomb ticking down now. And with that, Rare Atom, they do have 6 on the board. And, well, a 4-round difference, make that 5-round difference between the two teams is significantly less bad than what they had coming into the second half. So as you said, Boffers, if they can pick up the pistol and the 2 rounds preceding, then they put themselves in a good space to try and make a comeback here. We've already discussed that this is a pretty decent map normally for both teams. And this was an uncharacteristically dominant start for the Wings Up crew. And on the flip side, uncharacteristically lackluster from Rare Atom throughout the majority of those rounds. I've talked about how the impact of Bingo as an IGL versus Advent as an IGL has had a pretty decent effect on this game so far. But we can't put this all down to Advent. Kay's the star player, only on 7 kills as we head into round number 18. Mercury 8, Jam Young 6. Yeah, we just need to see all of this Rare Atom squad step up to a considerably higher degree. And then we might finally see something from them on this T side.
A point out there as well, we had a unicorn in that last round. One of the rare rounds in Counter-Strike when nobody dies.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen one of those.
So rare, that's why we call it a unicorn. Well, at least I do at the very least. Maybe that's not parlance that's going to catch on yet. Maybe that's just me living in my own...
I've heard the terminology before. Don't worry.
I do live in my own fantasy land, though. So sometimes I'm not sure whether I think these things in my sleep, and I'm convinced I've heard them before.
You just put the pyro goggles on from TF2.
That's the one.
Day-to-day living.
Give me that little trombone flamethrower. That's what I'm living for. And now, speaking of living for, I'm living for a T-Execute as well. Mac 10 playing Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, jumping around the corner like that, and then diving into the gunfight. Now, is there going to be any utility here to dislodge Martin? The first hurdle, no, but thankfully there is a bullet to lodge inside of Martin that will keep him out of this round. And now with these three rifles, they are probably going to have to suffer the same fate if they don't run away. And they don't want any of that pain, Tom, that you just mentioned. They want to save these weapons, because without them, they're not going to have a buy in the next round, and that means they can't remain competitive. So, another good B execute in towards the CT's eyes there. Another one that we've seen many times out of the Wings Up side on their T side, but Rare Atom are just making sure they are well aware that whatever you can do, we can do just as well, and we will show you every single time. We'll take those gunfights, we will take that B execute, and we will take that round. So, Rare Atom, quite happy with their performance at the moment.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's very early doors, but already it's looking like it could be a bit of a role reversal here. They're just using the exact same strategies that Rare Atom did on their the Wings Up did on their T side against them. And if this trend continues, then we could be in for a closer game than initially imagined. As you said, Sonic's Law always applies, and Rare Atom are looking to ensure that this match is no exception. Wings Up. Not the best buy. We've got two Deagles in play here, and the Cursed Famus, which is so much worse than a Galil that I would much rather buy the MP9. That's personal preference, but all my homies love a good Galil. The same cannot be said for the Cursed Famus. The impossible spray control and whimsical damage and useless burst fire. I'm getting off track here, Boffers.
You know what? Just go off, King. If you really do hate the FAMAS that much, this is your platform.
On the ESL stream, we got to incur a little more hate on the Cursed FAMAS until they'll finally make it a slightly better weapon.
I wake up every day and I promise to be a hater of the FAMAS.
I mean, that is my current philosophy. I just hate the thing. And also, I'm not a massive fan of the decision-making behind the B-hold here from Wings Up, leaving the two Desert Eagle players to deal with what could potentially be a very ferocious push from Rare Atom. But with a stroke of luck, they will have all of their rifle players on the right side, as it looks as if Rare Atom will be trying to get a bit of brackets control here. And out they go.
There's that FAMAS.
Into the fire as an Advent to the killing in this round, found by Advent himself, and now a 5v4 ensues. And oh, they're back off to B. Would you look at that?
Off we go. Around the world once again. I've seen this one before in 2018 in the Boston Major Final. It didn't go well then, and I'm not too sure that it's going to go well now, as Lan manages to find that initial frag onto Advent, or at least gets that frag back. Now over towards this mouth of CT. Out goes a player. In fact, out go two. It's two frags. It's three frags, and they're in the favour of Rare Atom. That 3 versus 2 now ensues. K's looking for that safe bomb plant in the corner by first oranges. And Bingo now looking to try and spam on through. Unfortunately, finding nothing for his troubles. Now they can just tuck in, play safe, hold back in the site. Oh, it could be good. It could be very, very good. Yam Young loses his life for that one. Lan now probably thinks that's completely clear. Probably doesn't anticipate there to be a second player there. And outswings that second player from K's. And that is what secures the round. Double stacking into that area. The HE grenade is a valiant attempt to try and clear it. Jam Young's sacrifice ends up paying dividends as Rare Atom find A.
Yeah, great stuff again there from Rare Atom. As it does get a little bit messy against the Desert Eagles, but they power through quite literally. And yeah, Jam Young definitely a worthy sacrifice to the overall success of that round. But Jam Young, he's been sacrificed quite a lot recently. Got the second most deaths on the team and the least kills. Hopefully we can see what I would consider to be one of the star players of this lineup to have a bit of a resurgence soon. As poor old Advent getting brutalized by early utility damage on bottom banana there. That is one thing that Wings Up were very good on their T side. They very rarely took a lot of damage on their banana plays. They waited them out, they let the CTs take a bit of banana control, and then they'd immediately just go and win it back unless they were going for a fast play. And Lan, oh, it's a fast shot coming off, fully blinded as well, defeats Mercury towards brackets, and he's looking to find more towards long. Great hold so far from Lan. And I don't know if you've noticed this in the kill feed, but I keep thinking it's saying Mulan.
Yeah, I do keep getting that. But despite the fact that I know it not to be true,
I mean, he is
still
a
keeps
true Disney classic.
it is still catching me out. I don't know, man. Maybe he's got those big Disney character vibes going on. He's got all the plot armor.
Stop it, Mosey.
Doesn't seem like he's got the plot armor right now, though, would it?
Not quite, no. I mean, he did have that incredible clutch round. I mean...
That was good plot armor, yeah. The writers couldn't kill him off in that one, no matter how hard they tried. Now, the script writers for this one, Child King might be getting himself a very handsome payday, but this surely doesn't go unchecked, and it doesn't. Mosea finds that frag, and now inside the site, here is Rulan. Is it going to be a W for him, or is it going to be some L's? Well, there's Bingo to help on out, but unfortunately, he does not live much longer, and Mosea is just taking matters into his own hands. 3 frags inside of this round, in fact, 4 as a matter of fact, looking for that ace now as Martin approaches upon the site. A 1 versus 2, he feels like this is somewhat reasonable, but when I've seen Mosea just rip 4 of my teammates' head off, I'm not looking to try and become the 5th, if I'm going to be really honest with you. No kit, 1 flashbang. There is surely not a lot of ways in which he can try and find a round win out of this one. He has to get that first frag on Jamyong in the site. ASAP. Unfortunately, it's not too becoming. He's spotted the gun barrel now, and he's found that first gunfight. Needs to swing the corner. Oh, big damage into Mosea, but not the frag to be found just yet. And as a result, with no kit, I don't think this round is a possibility. Mosea knows it too. He's just ran away. And unfortunately for him, if he wouldn't have gone through library and he'd have gone through Arch, he'd have had a kit picked up. How sad. Very, very sad.
that was an intense finale, though. I was going to say there was 2 separate occasions before he actually found the finishing kill in which he sees the pixels of Jamyong on site. It was intense. And the fact that, was it Mercury decides to, or Mosea, sorry, decides to bunny hop away instead of taking that fight, it's a huge risk, and it probably wouldn't have paid off if there was a kit in play. But thankfully for him, he bunny hops away with 5 HP, keeps that round going, and Rare Atom have found themselves a 9th off the back of a so far flawless T-side. And a bit of audience interaction here, as people have correctly pointed out, in the Asian region. I don't know what it is about them. Maybe it's their love of their super aggressive plays, especially early doors. But often they are favoured on the T-side, and the same can be said for the T-side of Inferno, especially if we look at recent competition. If we look at their lands played on the side of Rare Atom back in Valencia, I'm pretty sure they did some decent damage to Outsiders and MIBR on Inferno, and a lot of that was testament to their strong T-sides.
Round though, round number 21, it's going to be another aggressive stance from those pesky CTs. A triple stack here with Lan up on top of the flower pots is actually pretty nice. I quite like this little setup. It is hopelessly optimistic that the fact they come to the A site, once again, it is very dependent on this, and it seems that they are going to be rewarded for this little bit of gambling that they've done here. Gas finds the first frag on towards Mosea. That's the hot hand from the last round taken down. And now Lan also. Oh, look at that. Child King has just literally had it fall into his lap. Hayes goes for the shot, misses it. Orp recovered now as well. This has turned into a bit of a disaster. But now with that MAC-10 finding itself to heat up a little bit, it turns into 2-2. Now with that bomb still very clearly in the gaze of Gas here, this becomes a little bit difficult. But there is time to try and work this one out a tad. Gas has a bit of a read on this one, and it seems so does his teammate. The AWP clicks towards that position, but now both players exceptionally low on HP. All it takes is just one speed Ferrari peak from this Jamyong MAC-10, and he might find something out of it. A little trickling of damage, just 1 damage, I think, but it's enough to give him the space to go and collect that bomb. He now punches in those digits, and this MAC-10, with such low HP remaining on these 2 final players, becomes all the more potent. He doesn't even find one of them. How is that possible? I will never know. But despite that, Wings Up finally get themselves on the board on this CT side. Been a long time coming, and yet it comes in the most unlikely of circumstances.
Oh, that's a great Molotov as well to flush out the MAC-10 player. Beautifully done there. And on an eco round as well, or well, an upgraded pistol round for the side of Wings Up. As you said, one of the most unlikely rounds for them to do it in, but it felt like we were playing Apex Legends there, as the good old gas traps were activated in towards middle. Great stuff there from the man, as he cosplays Caustic in amongst the carnage. You an Apex Legends fan, Buffers?
Yeah, I was about to just interchange with that there. I haven't got the know-how on Apex Legends. I've never really gelled with BRs, to be honest. Like when Fortnite, PUBG, H1Z1 were all the rage, never really was my scene. Was there playing Counter-Strike, really?
I did pull a Bialy for a while. I did go over to PUBG for about 400 hours. I sucked. Like, don't get me wrong, I was atrocious, unlike Bialy. But I eventually came back around. I would say that Apex Legends is by far the most entertaining Battle Royale. And this could be an entertaining start to the round as Moses swinging on out opens up. Martin to trade, but Mercury in with a double. Poisoned by name and poisoned by nature as he fills onto that B-bomb site. And another successful B-take in a gun round for Rare Atom. And it's crazy, but they seem to have more success against rifles than they do against pistols. I guess it's because when you're playing with pistols, you have a no-holds-bar style of Counter-Strike. You play very, very overconfidently, and you thrive in carnage. And they also got very lucky with a gamble stack. But up against the rifles, people tend to be a little bit more cautious because of the amount of money they're wearing on them. And talking about the amount of money people are wearing on them, another thing I like about Agent CS is the incredible skins that they're normally busting out. Some fancy gloves and a lot of print stream combos at the moment. But besides from that, it's now double digits for Rare Atom. And Wings Up cannot afford to rest on their laurels. Also, shout out to Mosea, 22 in 13 right now. He is hard carrying Rare Atom.
He's doing a pretty splendid job, isn't he? When his teammates aren't pulling their weight, we've got Jamyoung on 8, K's on 8, Advent on 9, Mercury on 13, so a little bit further ahead, but Mosea is head and shoulders above the rest of his team. And additionally, at the moment, head and shoulders clear at the top of the server if you look at the fragging distribution overall. Now, I am aware that fragging doesn't mean everything, but ADR is also reasonably representative, and even that is alarmingly high for Mosea. So he is currently the man with the hot hand. Hopefully we continue to see him popping some more heads. At 10 to 12 now, this game has really closed up. We were bemoaning the weak start from Rare Atom on their CT side, but it seems that on their T side, when they are the ones given agency for how they wish to attempt to play this game, they are the ones who seem to have taken the game by the scruff of the neck and run it about. And that's the difficulty with the AWP, is that you can often be seen at shoulder peak angles before they can see you. And there, it is going to be a bit of a rough engagement inside of bottom middle. The AK recovered, the AWP in fact recovered, and now a quick shot, but it's all going well over on this B site for the first time in a long time. Gas and Martin been able to shut the entire thing down. They're now shepherding these two players back towards the A site, in which they fall into the lovingly warm embrace of Bingo, who promises to take them lovingly and calmly into the next round. Hayes, last man standing, very quick shot. But is there going to be more on the offering? The two B players are frantically scrambling to get back into position, but Hayes' back is overexposed, and Child King does not need a second invitation. He'll take him down and secure a 13th for Wings Up.
Child King sealing the deal for the Lost Boys of Wings Up there. As Rare Atom, as you said, they do let things slip quite significantly. And as much as frags don't mean everything, as we've addressed, it is not helpful to have your two star players on 9 kills heading into round number 24. This is not what I expected to see from Jamyoung and Kays, to say the least. Advent, you know, that's a little bit more expected. I think he had an impressive minus 15 recently in the fragging department. He's not too far off hitting that again right here, right now. But enough Fatboy Slim references. As we head into the latter stages of round number 24, the latter stages of this game, it's going to be Jamyoung back on a Mag 10, looking to make something work with the unupgraded weaponry. Whilst Wings Up, they have found their footing again on this CT side, and they're making things significantly more difficult for Rare Atom now that they've pulled a lot of that early momentum. They're just about escaping with his life there in middle, as shots ricochet off the wall next to his face. Now it's time for Rare Atom to show face over towards this A-bomb site once more. 3 stacked up in towards the apartment. They just need some utility support in order to get that waterfall up and running. Advent will be the man to provide. It will be Bingo to find the first and the second. That is beautiful. A gorgeous hold from the balcony. As Advent, well, he's trapped. There's nothing he can really do. Retrieves the bomb, but also retrieves a couple of bullets from Bingo to the face. And the Bingo caller calling the shots down towards the pit. Doesn't get a fourth, but Child King is there to retaliate as Case will bring it down to a winnable 1v2, but the bomb is in a nightmarish spot, and there's only 20 seconds left to plant.
Gotta go fast, to quote the ever great Sonic, but at the moment there is plenty of opportunity for him to do so. That Molotov I don't think was working as intended, but having said that, flashbang in the eyes, it's not going to be good enough. It's just a tad too late, as Martin and Gas both swing around the corner. They did a great job in the early round to stop any B pressure coming through, as they did in the previous as well. And now that makes 2 in a row. It seems the CTs are starting to warm into this one a tad now. That's 3 out of the last 4 rounds, I believe. And 2 in a row on this one is certainly going to be very nice for them. It's also starting to mean that they have a little bit of money to fall back on should things start to go pear-shaped, which the same can't really be said for Rare Atom at the moment. They are able to buy into this round simply for the fact that they had a bomb plant in the last round. And without it, they would be looking very much worse for wear here. They are still not looking particularly great. I suppose you'd say their buy is looking a little under the weather. Such. But anemic as well. They're currently sporting a Deagle and 2 MAC-10s, which against these completely armoured CTs is going to be very difficult to find the impact with the MAC-10s. I think I'd rather see a Scout or something like that, just for the fact that they have at least more damage output when against those armoured opponents. These MAC-10s really, it's stark. When you think you use a MAC-10 against armoured opponents, you think, oh man, I'm motoring through them, I'm like a lawnmower. And then when you get to the point where you find them against armoured opponents, you think you are literally shooting keys at the players because it just does nothing. And down goes one of those aforementioned MAC-10s, the second of which goes very aggressive and will shortly be cut down as well, I imagine. Yeah, but by his teammate, no less. Mosea takes his teammate out of the equation, but still relegates this situation down into a 3 versus 2. It could well have been a 4-on-2, but unfortunately, the timing for it just wasn't quite there. Mosea also gives up his position, but that's straight through the smoke. You are full grey, and you are going to be going into somebody whose sights are trained upon you. Now in from behind, Bingo is a dead man walking. He's living on borrowed time, and Jam Young will take that back from him like the debt collector that he is. That is a lovely round from Rare Atom. The aggression straight in towards CT, just as the smoke was about to plume, was really well timed as well. Wings up are left wondering what happened to them there, as they can get a buy out of this, but it is going to be a little bit sticky.
I just want to say, going back to that team kill, I like the way that they cleared out all of the opposition, and then after killing all of the enemy, Mosea's like, you know what, I want one more frag to Vitali here. Flicks onto his teammate's head mid-spray, and just finishes him off. Because why not, you know? As Rare Atom, they do find themselves on 11th off the back of that pretty impressive aggression. MAC-10's farming kills against the rather unexpected Wings Up squad. As that timer ticks on down into round number 26, it's Child King who's struggling economically here, as he has just a Desert Eagle to his tally. Also, significant lack of utility here on the CT side, which is not something I can support on a map like Inferno. They're putting too much reliance on on individuals here. They've gone for a double AWP setup, which is unwise when you have this little money to play with. Unless you can get a couple of impeccable entry kills, it's such a risky play to be going for. And, well, Jam Young, a risky play to be going for on his own right, will somehow survive the opening onslaught. And it's Child King on the Deagle to find the opening frag. And perhaps I am just chatting nonsense, Bothers, as it appears this buy is already finding more success than I ever anticipated. Martin finds another onto Mosea, and this is where things really start to fall apart for Rare Atom. This is to stave off 15 for Wings Up, and also their economy is in the bin after the previous force buy and buying back into this one. Land caught off guard, but goes back for the repeat, misses the shot. It's still a 5v3 though, and Rare Atom with a minute to play with could well fall prey to Child King again. One after another, they walk into his crosshairs, and the Desert Eagle is having an absolute field day here on A Long.
That is just a disaster. An absolutely unprecedented disaster for Rare Atom. They gave themselves such a steep mountain to climb with their first half performance, and they haven't been able to mount that particular battle in this second half. It's been strong to start, but Bingo seems to have his sights set on this T side now, and he's figured it out. I think someone may have just taken some random damage. I'm not sure what that was about. Whether someone created themselves or something, but oh, it's all just this. Yeah, it's the HUD just having a bit of a moment. Okay, don't worry. I was getting a bit worried. It's getting spammed on down. Oh, the presence of mind, the game sense. They cleared everywhere else out, I suppose, that they could be. So just figuring that one out as well and making sure that the AWP does not make it into the next round is huge. I don't know what's happened here in terms of maybe a player is disconnected, which would explain the HUD freaking out.
I think possibly, yes.
I think Advent may be currently missing in action. So we'll soon
get a status report on poor old Advent.
We'll soon
it's
find
nearly
out.
Christmas, so he'll be back soon.
Yeah, I'll be back soon for the run up to everyone's favourite festival. Not mine, however. Not mine.
No?
No, I'm not. I'm a bit of a Grinch, me. I'm not a particularly festive person. I'm one of those people about birthdays as well that finds them a bit tiresome. I have one every year. Do I need to have another? Do I need to make a big deal about it?
I mean, hey, I big up Jesus' birthday every year. I have fun. Nice bit of food. And, well, I get a nice bit of stuffing just as Rare Atom are being stuffed right now. As they have a 4-round deficit going into what looks to be a miserable buy. Case has a little bit of cash. But if that's Advent's actual money after the round is over, he is in some serious, serious trouble along with Jamyoung and Mosea. I mean, they can go for another balmy Mac-10 players. It seemed to work off quite nicely the last time they pulled it, but wings up. If they lose this round, I would be genuinely surprised and a little disappointed in them after how overall impressive they've been so far. But as this tech timeout continues on, and we wait to hear from poor old Advent, I just want to point out a couple of people I've been very impressed by this game. First of all, Mosea, obvious pick. 26 and 16, entering like a madman, and one of the driving forces behind why Rare Atom are at this close of a scoreline in the first place. He's had a couple of monster rounds, including the pistol, and looking at his 4K in round 20, that was very, very prominent indeed, into finding what ended up being a 1v1 victory as the bomb went off. On the flip side, looking at Chalking, how can we ignore that previous round? It was a gorgeous 4K from the man, 3 of which were with the Desert Eagle, including the entry frag, and 2 kills towards A long against fully rifled opponents. And then Bingo, as I believe he is the IGL, fragging very impressively with actually the highest ADR on his team. 83 ADR, going 19 and 13. Yeah, he's just had a stellar performance so far. Very consistent, and only a single frag behind the top fragger of Chalking. Looking at Gas as well, he's had his moments, especially on the T-side when he was entering up Banana. Plenty of car jokes to be made there. But taking his foot off the gas a little bit has been Lan. Lan has had a stellar 1 versus 4 round. But outside of that, he still struggled to find complete consistency. Some nice kills here and there. But the real problem is when we look at Rare Atom. We've had Jamyoung and Kaze, normally the dynamic duo of top fraggers and stars for this team, rated 1.19 each. With Kaze being on this team for almost 4 years now, this is probably one of his worst performances. 43 ADR and only 10 kills. And Jamyoung's not doing much better. Advent, as I said, it's somewhat expected that he's not doing the best. He's really not a fragging IGL, but he's missed out on some crucial opportunities, especially in that 1 versus 4 AWP case for the side of Lan. Advent was the one who initially missed his shot and got no scoped to smithereens on that B-bomb site. And yeah, with that, we just need to see more from Rare Atom, but I fear, Boffers, that it is already too little too late.
I think you might be right. What gives me that impression is the litany of Tech 9s being produced into this round. And whilst I am a big fan, I'm an average Tech 9 enjoyer, I'm also an average enjoyer of Child King spray downs, and that was a beautiful one there, getting himself a lovely little spray transfer onto the 2 inside a second middle. That also drops the AK-47 out of the equation as well, so that's one thing that has to be recovered by Mercury, and also a huge advantage garnered. Wings Up are looking to try and get their leg up in this series and get the first map under their belt, and it looks increasingly likely with every second that goes by that that is going to be the case. Smoke's going in towards the B side. Martin flushed off of this angle for the moment with the AWP, not able to find any contact, and the Tech-9s have actually broken their way in. Or should I say, Mosaic has broken his way in. The bomb is yet to really get planted, and now finally does so. 3 players stacked up in church, a 4th towards the back of CT. This presents a unique opportunity here. There could be the chance for them to all swing around the corner and find a good chunk of frags. It's going to be a trade, and that, of course, is the opposite of what you want in this situation. You need frags to come thick and fast for this Rare Atom side if they want to have any hope of holding on to this game before it's lights out for themselves. That's a good shot, but it's not going to be what they need right now. They need 2 frags out of this one. There's K's finding one, dancing back and forth behind the pillar, dancing back and forth behind Dark, and now just trying to keep himself alive. I don't know if there's enough time for the round to win either, and Rare Atom have just held on for long enough. Both players go down, no AWPs to be saved, and with Tech-9s and an AK-47 to boot with a Galil on top as the final sprinkling to that very strange assortment, they've got themselves a 12th round and they live to fight another day. But once again, the economy just really isn't going to be there to support them in this round. Thankfully, neither is the economy of Wings Up.
Overtime? Are we looking at an overtime here, Boffers, in our first map of the day?
I wouldn't want to tempt fate.
I'd say it's certainly on the cards, though, with Rare Atoms at the resurgence there. Excellently playing the time down on the back of that bomb site, forcing Wings Up into very uncomfortable positions. But Chalking, a specialist at forcing people into uncomfortable positions, will find the first as Mercury trades straight on back. 4v4 now, and losing that weapon on Chalking means it will just be 3 upgraded pistols for Wings Up. And a USP for Rob Martin. And Jamyoung, oh, he snatches that rifle straight back out of the hands of the CT side. And this could very well be a 13th for the Rare Atom.
Looking likely, but let's not rule it out just yet. We've seen Deagle plays that have been problematic for the Rare Atom side before if they don't clear their off angles like they have been prone to do. Is going in towards this A side, though, and it seems that Mercury has learned his lesson. He checks Cubby this time. There is no lurking Child King in there with the Deagle this time behind a smoke, but thankfully...
That little gremlin.
Yeah, just not tucked away. He's trying to be a nuisance, and there is nothing looking towards long here. It's not considering the possibility that this is wide open. And whilst it well is, it's going to be an absolutely behemoth performance from Gas to try and bring this round to the fold. But unfortunately for him, he doesn't quite have it in him. He just doesn't have the dog in him for that one. I don't think I would either, to be honest. I am absolutely cheeks with the Desert Eagle.
I mean, I occasionally get lucky with it, but more often than not, it is a shambles. I just can't deal with it. I'm like Nico. Someone's facing away from me. I'll just miss the shot every single time.
Oh, come on, man. Luckily, you didn't have to do him like that. You're nothing like Nico.
No, I would never get to the major final in the first place. But I certainly wouldn't win one if I did get there. My face at level 8, you know, it's making progress, but I'm pretty sure Nico would 16-0 me every single day of the week. And yeah, no, I am usually pretty miserable with the Desert Eagle. But someone who's not miserable with the Desert Eagle is Chalking. I'm going to keep referring back to that round because it was honestly astonishing.
And huge as well for the landscape of the game, the current state of it.
Yeah, it was round number 20. It was an absolute flip round because Rare Atom were just continuing to come on back. And with that Wings Up, they got the confidence to not only win that round, go on to win a couple more in a row, which is something they've been struggling to do. They really got in the heads of Rare Atom with that one, I'm imagining, because it is not nice losing 2 players towards A-Long to the same Desert Eagle player. And that would definitely have tilted me off the face of the planet. I'm sure these professionals are far more cool-headed than I am, but it certainly would be playing on the back of your mind. But something else that should be probably playing on the back of Rare Atom's minds is that the time is ticking down and nobody has found an engagement just yet, and there is very little map control for this T side.
It's true. Map control is dwindling and time is also falling in much the same direction. Where are they going to try and end up with this? They threw a coffin smoke towards the B site about 35 seconds ago. So it's quite clear that they weren't going towards B with that one. And now they're doubling back to do it all over again. A player in mini pit just gets absolutely bodied. A second towards the mouth of CT falls to the same fate. Martin now last alive on the site, but time is so far gone and they just don't have it. The bomb is not planted in time. That is GG. No overtime for us today. And that is that. Rare Atom all down in their first map, and the Wings, they are up.
Oh, they certainly are. I mean, what a way to finish. They just do it so dominantly in that final round of play on the side of Wings Up. And I don't want to say that was an anticlimactic finish, but I didn't expect it to end there. I mean, I am the master of jinxing things, of course. As soon as I said overtime, I mean, we immediately just lose all semblance of hope in that direction.